Is that it? I think that's it. Oh, that's it.
Welcome back, guys. The turbo's back, and I'm so excited to put it in.
Oh, yeah. Get this out of here. Get out of here. Oh, there she is. Ooh. Welcome back to Colorado. So, go over what they found. Go and flip it over. This thing's heavy. So, if you look at the back here, you can't really quite, I guess you can kind of see it there. There is no oil residue on the back behind the turbine, and there is no play in it. So that was what was the issue. Basically what they diagnosed was when I had it installed, the oil wasn't all the way through the turbo. So it did have a brief second or two when it spooled up after the initial start where it ran dry. So that ended up toasting the bearing, and the bearing was no good anymore. So there was a lot of play in it because of that. So that was my fault, but it's fixed. We're gonna put her in and get her started today. First things first, we gotta prime the turbo with some oil here. So I got a syringe full of oil that's meant for the vehicle. I'm just gonna put it down into this little hole here. This is something they recommended for me to do outside the turbo. I'm gonna put a little bit in there. Maybe get some more in there. And you can kind of see it's just sitting right there. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put my finger on here and we're gonna turn the turbine. See if I can get that in there. Get this all turned around. All right, got all the hoses hooked up to it. So you can see the black hose here towards the bottom. So that is actually coming from the intake manifold. The yellow hose up from the top there, that's gonna be for the wastegate. And then the red one down there, you can see it's already hooked up as well. That stuff, just doing it now is gonna make it so much easier later, because you can't quite get to the red hose and where it's at, and then to get a clamp on it, you're gonna have to come up with some ingenuity if you don't do it this way here. Now, the rest of it, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it in its place and hook up the drain lines for the oil and for the coolant. One thing I will recommend, leave it loose on the manifold, just so you can get all that stuff lined up properly. And then once you have that stuff hooked up on the bottom, hook it up, or start hooking it up on the top there, or sorry, put the bolt in for the manifold once you have all that done on the bottom. So that stuff's connected up top, everything's tightened up below. I don't have the downpipe hooked up quite yet. I'm missing some of the intake there, but I'm gonna start filling up some fluids here and kind of just double check that before I get too much further. Make sure nothing's leaking. This is a little harder to do than I thought with one hand. Sweet, guys. Everything's all tidied up. I didn't go as technical in this video as I did the last, because really everything is just a reverse of what we did. So intake is all plumbed up, everything down there. I got all the hoses hooked up, even some that you can't see I did show you earlier. The rest of it up here is all put together there, and downpipe is hooked up. And then I do have the coolant topped off. I will need to get some more, I ran out. Last thing, took all of these guys off. So these are the plugs for the injectors. So I gotta build oil pressure in the car first, and then I'll be able to start it. After that, should be Pretty straightforward. Get it started, let it warm up, do a heat cycle, and then drive it.
So there's one issue that I ran into though, the battery that I put in about a month ago. I gotta go swap it out. For some reason it dropped to cell or died. I don't know what it is, and I can't get it to charge. I can't do it to anything. So what seems like about an hour and a half to an hour to me, it's probably gonna be about 10 seconds for you guys.
Fingers crossed.
One eternity later.
All right, so that's normal. Supposed to just prime it, get oil in it. I'm gonna go make sure nothing's leaking, and then we'll start it. No leaks. Let's hook all this stuff back up. All right, let's do a once over on everything. Those look good. That stuff back there looks good. That's all signed up. Mass airflow's connected. We have coolant. I added a quart of oil. All that back there is good. Alrighty. Well, I guess it's time to crank her over.
She's alive. Well, we'll warm her up, take her for a drive, see what she does.
Well, let's keep going. Take it around the block. Do some really light driving with it. Get a little bit more temperature in the car. Make sure everything's good. But I mean, right now we're making decent vacuum. Everything seems to be doing fine. Ignore the anti-skid service required. That's a bad sensor with the traction control system, and who needs traction control anyways? Again, the check engine light's something I expected. Like I said, I think it's the O2 sensor, or I mean, it could be because of bad gas now. It was idling a little rough when it first started, and then after about 3 or 4 minutes, I turned it off, turned it back on, and then it was smooth as silk. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it sounds good. It sounds real good. this is the road where I had the issue last time, so I'm not going to repeat that. I'm going to do some light driving and make sure nothing happens, but we haven't even started building boost. We're still in vacuum. But all seems well. Take it around for a little bit. I'll probably pull back the garage, make sure everything's 100%, nothing's leaking, just after a quick drive around. And maybe let her cool off just a little bit so I get another heat cycle going. And maybe we'll do a little bit of a harder drive.
Well, everything's getting buttoned up here. I put about 150 miles on it. It is a couple days later. So as far as everything going, it runs really good. It pulls really strong. I'm super happy with it. As far as the check engine light, I had Advance run the code, and apparently I have a bad O2 sensor. So next video, this guy's going in. After that, see if it goes off. And if it doesn't, then more trial and error. That's how it goes with these cars. I got tons of other stuff to do. I mean, we're just going to button up a couple of things. So we're going to put the heat shield back on the turbo. And then we're also going to put the splash guard on the back of the, or on the bottom of the car back on. We're going to wash it and probably do some driving with it. I'll definitely do a lot of rollers with it. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, guys, I'll see you later.